You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Wednesday the 18th of June 2025 and you are listening to the diary of a very, very tired wannabe writer. And firstly, I've got a little confession to make. So you may have noticed in yesterday's podcast, I was talking about sleeping at home tonight, where I'd already established that I was going to be flying and working overnight that night. Well, there's a simple reason for this. I recorded that podcast a day early, very, very occasionally when I know I'm not going to be able to say much. I knew I wasn't going to do any writing. I will record a podcast in advance and then set it to be released on a timer. But I was so tired when I did it, I ended up talking about stuff I was doing that night rather than the night the show was supposed to be going out, which was the following night. So there's me going, I'm going to try sleeping in the bed with the room with the with the new blackout blinds and stuff on it. Well, actually, that was the night before because the night that I was talking about, I was actually on the flight. I did sleep the night before in the room with the new blackout blinds in, and it was wonderful. I got a really, really good sleep. Anyway, flew to Singapore, had an enjoyable flight. It was actually genuinely an enjoyable flight. Hard work, but then it often is, particularly when it's a 12.5-hour flight. But there was a brief moment where a lot of customers were resting that I was able to skim through chapter 30 again, made a couple of little alterations. I've gone through it a few times now, so I kind of decided that when I got to my hotel, I would attempt to sign it off. And I'm pleased to say that I did precisely that. It took me a little while to print it, so I did actually buy myself a new adapter. So the business centre in the hotel is basically a printer. It might be two actually, but they've all got the old style USB. Are they USB A's? Anyway, the old USB big chunky kind of connections, and whereas my laptop uses USB-C, the new one, and I'd actually bought an adapter that enabled me to plug the older cable into my newer computer. And I first tried it because I'd actually done the editing work I did during the flight on my iPad, and I tried to connect the iPad but it just wouldn't work. So I checked into my room, got up to my room. It seemed to take forever to get the iPad to synchronise with my cloud and therefore update the versions of the files on my laptop, but it did eventually. I could tell by the time that I saved them basically that they had finally worked, and then I went back downstairs with my laptop instead of my iPad, and after a bit of a faff managed to print chapter 30, and then I came back up to my room, and I've just spent the last, I'm not quite sure how long, I can check actually, let's have a look. I've just spent the last hour and a half, blimey. God, no wonder I feel tired. Going through it and signing it off. And I'm so thrilled to say that as of this evening, it's the evening here, so the time now is almost 9 o'clock in Singapore. It's almost 2, that's 9 o'clock in the evening. It's almost 2 p.m, so 7 hours earlier at home in the UK. But at this time, I have signed off chapter 30. Now that is brilliant. It's significant because that was the target I set myself for June, which means anything I do now gets me ahead for July. Now, as it stands, I've got 13 chapters left to edit. Those are sorry, my phone keeps making noises and I don't know how to stop it. So those are the 10 remaining chapters of part 4 of the book, entitled Ragnarok, and then it's the 3 chapters that initially were just meant to be one little epilogue, but it became apparent I couldn't wrap everything up in 8,000 words, and it ended up being 24,000 words, so it ended up being the final 5th part of the book, which I think I called Idrisil. I can't remember. But yeah, so as of today, I've just got 13 chapters left to edit. I will definitely do some more. I suspect I will try and get chapter 31 signed off before I leave Singapore, because I've read through it a few times and it's all right. Chapter 32 has got to have a bit of new material added to it. So I identified that I wanted to understand a little bit more about the Alpha site and what the people not within Ronnie's immediate sort of purview are doing towards this project to save the human race. And there is a little bit of material that hints at what's it about. So what I think I'm going to do is add a video call between Oliver Shaw, who is the character that I introduce in chapter 33 or 34, but I kind of wanted to introduce him a little bit earlier, and has been referred to earlier, and he has spoken to Oakley on the phone earlier, as I say, so, and we've heard that conversation. In fact, that might be in the chapter, I can't remember when it is. It's in one of the chapters I've yet to edit, because I was kind of reading through it and thought, that's right, there was a phone call between Oakley and a different character that I never see again, and I remember thinking, when I come across that, I need to change that to Oliver Shaw so it's the same character that we see again. So that edit has been made. I can't remember which chapter it's in. It's probably in chapter 32, to be honest, because chapter 33 onwards is the new material that I wrote once I moved on to my right edit model. It's the material I started writing in August, and none of that is set at Forest Lodge. I think it's all the last bit of the book. Anyway, I'm very, very tired now. I've been awake for a very long time, but I've got chapter 30 signed off. I just want to celebrate that. I'm in Singapore. I will bring you another podcast tomorrow at some point from here in Singapore. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.